So today I'm going to be talking about how you can still do cold email in 2024, even with the new Google changes that are coming up. Now, a lot of you people probably already noticed, which is why you're watching this video, that Google and Yahoo, but no one is really using them or sending emails to Yahoo servers, but they're going to be making some changes to the whole cold email world. What they're doing is they are actually already saying that whoever is sending more than 5,000 emails per 24-hour period to their servers, they're going to have a couple new rules that they're going to have to take into account. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into these rules because you can find exactly what it means online. But today I want to talk more about solutions because I'm going to be testing a bunch of different solutions. Now, I'm not saying that you can no longer use G Suite or Google or Yahoo for cold email. You definitely can. There are just a couple new things that you have to keep in mind. And also one thing that you want to do, that you want to make sure is that if you're sending more than 5,000 cold emails per day to G Suite users, then make sure that you check out the rules. So you need to have less than 0.03% spam rate, and you need to just follow all these rules that you probably were already following, but they're going to be a little bit more strict when it comes to those rules. Now, I've been in the cold email space for over a decade, and there have always been a lot of change, a lot of ups and downs. This seems like a pretty serious change, though, so I want to make sure that I'm ahead of things and I'm testing a bunch of different solutions because, one, again, I want to be ahead of things just in case things actually get pretty bad for us cold email senders, but also because I really like it. Changes mean there are going to be opportunities for people who are willing to adjust, who are willing to adapt and try different things. And that's what really excites me. Now, the things I'm going to try, there are a bunch of different things I'm going to try, a lot of different tools that I'm going to try. Some of you may already know most of those tools, others they might be new. There are also going to be some random solutions like using SendGrid or Mailgun or any other P relay for email sending. And in these videos, I'm just going to run you through the results that I'm getting with these so that you can learn from my trial and error. Now, mind you, some of these results that I'm currently looking at on my screen right there, they're going to be really bad. That is because, again, I'm trying different tools. And of course, these tools, they're promising the world and the best results that you could possibly ask for, but that is not going to be there, which is completely fine. It's all trial and error. There are also tools like SMTP servers or a virtual servers, other things that you can set up that I already knew from previous testing that they were not going to perform really well, but I've been trying some other things that I thought might make a difference, and in this video I'm going to show you if they did make a difference and what are some things that you maybe want to try for yourself and some things that you definitely want to avoid if you're going to try and stay ahead of these changes as well. So here are some of the campaigns that I've been running. I've been trying. As you can see, the results are a little bit all over the place, but there are a couple of things that you need to know. Now, before we dive in here, let me talk you through the solutions that I've tried, so the different things that I've tried here. So these two campaigns right here, they're actually these three. So the first and the last three, they are campaigns that I built on mail scale. Now I'm going to walk you through mail scale in just a second. But as you can see, the results are all over the place, and I'll let you know why that is in just a second. Then here, what I did, I'm actually going to walk you through this one first because it's the easiest one. It's going to be a short explainer. So what I did here, I used a dedicated IP, or not, I used a shared IP from Mailgun. So most of you are probably aware with Mailgun. If not, then look out there, SendGrid competitor. So they allow you to use their service for email, cold email, not so much, but just to run the test, I figured, why not? So I tried that before and the results weren't great. Now I had a new theory that I wanted to try. So as you may or may not know, when you warm up your email inboxes, your IP, your domain, what have you, then there's the actual IP address, etc., that you're warming up, but also the domain. So one of the things that I tried was bypassing that whole domain warm up thing where instead of having a brand new domain, which is one of the factors that goes into, let's say, your spam score or your spam reputation, if that were a term, is how old your domain is. So what I did is I went to expired domains, and then I looked for a domain, like an old domain. I think it was registered early 2000s. That contained the keywords of the client that I was working with, or the project I was working on. And I grabbed that domain, and honestly, I didn't check anything else beyond that. But if you're going to try this for yourself, what you probably will want to do is to check if there are any strikes on the domain, any if they've had any issue in the past when it comes to being reported, or spam issues, or just any type of Google penalties. The domain looked all right, and it wasn't some random casino domain. It was just a pretty generic business domain. So I grabbed that, and I thought if I hook that up to a shared IP address from Mailgun that they're obviously looking to maintain, and that they're looking to protect the reputation from a little bit themselves, then if you combine those two, then it could be that that's something that could work. So one of the big lessons that I've learned here is that in warm up, so I figured I'm gonna warm it up a bit and see how that goes. And in the background, I was warming up. In warm up, it looked good. So there was, like, say, a 95% inbox rate. So that's great, right? But then the open rate, as you can see here, is only 7.x%, 7.2-ish%. Now it's a clean list and everything, so there are no bounces. I didn't use spin tags. It was just a pretty generic email that went out to the lead list. And open rates aren't great. So let's say we got an 8.4% open rate. That was the highest that we got. No replies. And that's as bad as it gets, right? As it gets. So that's one of the worst results that I've ever gotten, which is fine. It was just a fun experiment that I wanted to try just to see how that went. There are a bunch of things that I could have done different, that I could have done better, but I wanted to try this setup, and it absolutely failed. So that was that. And then the other campaigns, as I said, they're set up on mail scale. Now, MailScale, you can find at mailscale.ai. I don't know these guys personally. They're in private beta, and they're claiming 97% deliverability, and they're sending a bunch of emails, etc. They have that their warm up emails landing in the inbox. But as I've said, that absolutely does not guarantee any type of open rate. It doesn't mean that you're going to get 97% inbox or open rate. It's just is being accepted by the server, but it still means you can land the spam if you're sending to people who have even a little bit more of a security setup on their end. And it depends on a million other things, obviously. So they pretty much they take on the entire setup for you. So you just tell them, okay, they have a form where you say, okay, these are the domains more or less that are on this many inboxes, and they set all that up for you. My suspicion with this solution, there are several solutions that are similar to them that do pretty much the same thing. My suspicion always is that they have their own infrastructure that they build with their own servers that they're renting, and they've installed their own stuff on there, and that way they're providing inboxes. That's what I think, but also a bunch of these I think are built on the Postel. That's probably how you pronounce it, Postel API. So if you don't know Postel, they they allow you a bunch of inboxes that you can use, and they allow for white labeling options. They have an API, and you can just create a bunch of inboxes there for a domain that you have. They're really cheap, and that way you can use those in Smart Lead instantly. And it's obviously a lot cheaper than G Suite, etc. And so they have reseller options. They have an API that you can use. So my suspicion is that a lot of these guys, they're built on top of the Postel API. Doesn't really matter because I've built tools on top of the Postel API just to try it. And for them to do it and I use them, that's value for me, because then I don't have to maintain the solution I built. It's a bit more expensive, but still It takes a lot of work out of it for me. So, you know what? I don't mind. If that's the case, I don't mind it if they can get me a certain open rate, right? So, now, why are these so all over the place? Why do I get a 15% open rate here and a 52% open rate there, or 16 and 52 if we're rounding up? The warm up time for both was pretty equal. Excuse me. So for this campaign right here, the warm up was a little bit shorter, probably like 2, 3 days shorter, which shouldn't make too much of a difference. The volume, etc., how the campaigns are set up, they're pretty much identical. So the biggest change here, we're emailing CEOs at companies of up to 1,000 headcount, so between 250, and 1,000 employees. Now, obviously, these people are going to be very busy. B, they're gonna open their email a lot less, and they're gonna do a lot more scanning. Hey, is this someone I know? You know what? Not even gonna bother. And they have a lot more security measures, etc., in place, and they have maybe an IT department. A lot of the emails that I did get responses to, they had that part, okay, this is from an external sender, you probably don't want to reply to it, or be careful with this email, that type of thing. So they have different security measures in place, and there's a lot more going on that would make it that you're not going to land in the inbox. So that's one of the reasons why I figured, okay, 16% what we're getting here. Now we're getting okay-ish replies, 10 out of 500 people they replied, and a bunch of them that were positive. So actually, if we're contacting 500 CEOs at companies of between 250 and 1,000 employees, and out of those 500, four are interested in what we're looking to sell them, that's pretty good, especially for these really automated emails. So I did use some AI um, personalization and did use a lot of spin tags. But you can see the campaigns that did not have the AI personalization performed a bit better as well in terms of positive responses. Actually, that's not true if you look at the total amount of replies. So scratch that. But the difference is not that big. So these campaigns, open rates, horrible. But the good thing is the positive that we can take away from this, if we can get that open rate up to, imagine, 50, 60%, then we're going to be printing a lot of positive replies and meetings there. Now, this is to SMB owners. So these are small stores. They have, I think, up to 20 employees, between 2 and 20 employees. It's just that these are much more likely to get into the inbox and much more likely to reply. Not too much that we can take away from this, just that, as you can see, even on Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays, these people, they're opening emails and replying to them. So that's a bit of a lesson if you're sending to small business owners or business owners in general. On the weekends, they still their email a lot. So make sure you're also sending on email on weekends, which is not what I did, but I still got a bunch of replies over the weekend. So we have about 100 inboxes per campaign. So we're sending around, I think this one day of sending. So we're sending about 1,800 emails per day. And that is after about a week of warm up. Just as a, let's say, final verdict for mail scale, if you're sending emails to smaller companies, so if you're not sending to Fortune 500, whatever, after a week of warm up, you can start sending, let's say, 2,000 emails per day, and you can get about a 50, 55% open rate depending on how you're doing it and your setup, etc. So I would say that's pretty decent. So what I'm paying them is I'm paying for the domains. That's a one-time thing, and then I'm paying, I think, $1 per inbox. I'm on a plan, I think, that is costing me $200 a month. Yeah, $200 a month. I have 200 email accounts, and I'm using 100 for this campaign. Let's say for $200 a month, you can send 4,000 emails per day after a week of warm up and get about a 50% open rate. So you can get 2,000 people to read your email every single day, which I think is pretty impressive. Verdict for now for mail scale, not great, but definitely not bad either. This really depends on who you're targeting. So if you want to try them out, then I don't know these guys, but yeah, could be worth a shot. And if you warm up a bit longer than what I did, I'm not a very patient man, then it could be that you can get up to 60, 70% open rates with them, which is pretty decent. So these are the solutions that I've tested. Now, there's a bunch of other solutions that I'm going to be testing. I'll walk you through a couple of them, and then in the next video, I'll show you the results from those. So one of these solutions that I'm going to try here is AI. If you're on Twitter, you may have heard of them. I know Eric Noslowski also mentioned them the other day. So if you're on LinkedIn, you may have heard of them. And I've used them in the past. From what I remember, pretty decent results. And their main value prop is that you don't really need to do any warm up. They like you should do warm up or at least the background, but technically from day one you could start sending a whole bunch of emails, which for me is interesting. I also love their CTA here, start blasting, because I'm the type of guy. I have a bunch of different ideas that I want to try, a bunch of different campaigns that I want to try, different projects. And sometimes you just want to start blasting, right? So that's something that I like from them. They're on the more expensive side. I'm not going to share pricing because maybe they wouldn't want me to. So if you want to learn more about pricing, then definitely contact them. And I know their setup is legit. A lot of people they've been around for I think about a year now, maybe longer. And a lot of people from day one said a couple of weeks max, you're gonna lose your business because of how they've set up their infra, but they're still around, they're getting good results. Yeah, worth a try. I'm gonna be trying them out pretty soon as well. And then another thing that I did, which just to show you that I'm just having fun with this, I actually bought a SNTP infrastructure from Black Hat World, so from a Black Hat forum. And what they advertised was a bulletproof service. So what that meant is that spam reports would not really affect your setup. So you do need to do warm up there. I'm going to warm that setup up for about 5 to 8 days. I'm going to warm up really aggressively. So not really, I'm going to warm up pretty aggressively, as in start sending 40 to 50 warm up emails from day one, see what the results from that are. And then I'm going to start mixing in regular emails as well, just to see how that performs. And then it's going to be a domain that I grabbed, I think, 2 months ago. So let's see how that goes. And in the next video, I'll show you the results from that one. So that was that. If you want to learn more about the types of different things I'm testing, what works, what doesn't work, and what types of mistakes you can avoid, or what things maybe you want to try for your cold emails, then make sure that you follow along. So if you're watching on YouTube, you subscribe, maybe even turn on notifications. So when that new video is dropping, that you'll be the first to know. If you feel there's something I should be testing, maybe a tool that you've built or that you're using, or a different type of infrastructure that you're aware of that you think could be a good solution, definitely let me know. I really, really enjoy testing these types of things. And then maybe in the next video, I'll feature that one. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you.